Hello everyone and welcome back to Smart Move Insider, a place where we talk about fitness, community and making progress inside and outside the gym. I'm Sergio, here with head coach Bart, and today we're diving into a topic that's perfect for this time of year, New Year's resolutions. Now we know that resolutions can feel a little cliche, but they don't have to be that way. Done right, I think they're a very powerful tool to stay on your path to a set vision for the year that's ahead, to build momentum and create habits that stick. So we want to help you start 2025 with clarity and purpose. Whether your goals are to crush your first pull-up, let's say, or show up to the class more consistently, or just feel stronger and healthier in your day-to-day life. We're also going to reflect on some wins from this past year, share tips to avoid the usual pitfalls, and of course give you some fitness-specific ideas to make 2025 your best year yet. So let's jump in. How was your 2024, Bart? What worked well? What worked less?
Yeah, we're the first week of 2025, so yeah, it's a good moment to reflect a bit on 2024. My 2024 started with a coaching course in Budapest, the coaches development course. This is organized by Coach Birdie, which is also the guy that organizes the CrossFit gymnastics course. Talking about the CrossFit gymnastic course, it's coming to Bucharest in March. So for those that are interested in knowing the finer details of gymnastics, I recommend this course. We had it in our gym also, I think, when was it? 2 years ago? Not last July, but the July before, 2 years ago?
Not last summer, but 2023 summer.
Yeah. So Coach Max is going to attend the course in Bucharest because for this year on 2025, we would like to add a specialty class, so gymnastic class 1 time a week. So those of you that specifically want to work on certain gymnastic skills or want to develop certain gymnastic skills will have a specific class to just focus on that once a week. So I think it's going to be interesting.
How was the course? Was it hard? Was it technical? How would you describe it?
The gymnastics course. I think the gymnastic course can benefit beginners until advanced because everything he went through was like what we also do in classes. It's in progressions. So one progression builds to another. So if eventually you get stuck at a progression, there is ways that he still found that you could do them with help of 2 assistants, 2 partners. So they went through an entire range of gymnastic moves in 2 days, going from L-sits to muscle-ups, to ring muscle-ups, to handstand walking. And for every subject, there were very specific scaling options and progressions. So I think it will be fit for anybody.
That's cool. And what else did you do?
So to go back to what I started, so I went to a coaches development course. So that's been led by the same guy that does that gymnastic course. So the coaching development course, I attended with Max, and the course had a couple of subjects like the coach-athlete relationship, where they talked a little bit about before real coaching can happen, there needs to be some a certain coach-athlete relationship at a certain level. We need to create trust, familiarity, have open communication between coach and athlete, because if you don't have that, it's it's much harder to coach people. The more at ease the client is with you, the easier they will come with you with an issue, and the easier we will be able to help them progress. They also had some topics about biomechanical understanding of movements and identification of faults. So to understand a little bit how the body works, you need to understand how the body works, then to be able to identify a bad movement, and then to be able to come up with solutions, because you know the logic, how the body should move, and then you can see why is that person not being able to move like I want. So when people move bad, there are like 3 things usually that can be the problem. Can be mechanical, structural, or can be a strength problem. If it's mechanical, then think more of a mobility, range of motion is missing. That's why they're moving bad. And then we need to look in that direction to solve it. If it's structural, then we're talking more about it's a coordination problem. That means person doesn't really understand mind-body connection, doesn't know where his body is in space. So then we need to work a bit more on that with making them pause, slow down the movement, break up the movement in multiple parts before we put them to do the full movement, because for the full movement they don't have the coordination. So we're working on the coordination by doing that. And it can also just be a strength problem, like somebody's doing a bad air squat just because they don't have the strength to keep their core tight, the strength to sit in the bottom, the strength to stand out of the bottom, and that's why they're like all curving and having bad movement. So it's a bit of an understanding where the problem lies. So we went through all kinds of moves and analyzed them from this point. And then something that he called coaching interventions, which is basically finding solutions for the problem for that particular person in your group class to still give a little bit of one-to-one solution. Although we're in a group class, we still need to aim to solve personal one-to-one problems. But to be able to do that fast and efficiently, you need to have the knowledge to identify mistakes and know why the mistakes are happening, and then you can come with the right solutions. You could say if somebody cannot get in a good overhead position in between sets, if it's a mobility issue, we could give them an intervention by making him do some wall slides or making him hang on the bar or making him do puppy pose just to stretch a little bit in between sets. So as he progresses from set to set, he gets more loose. That could be an example of an intervention for somebody that has a mobility restriction. It was
sounds like a lot of details. Like you don't think that much that in that depth. I mean,
yeah, that's why courses like this is good to, because after a while we start working on automatic pilot, and sometimes courses like this are good to just reflect a little bit on the why you're doing things in your coaching and what is more efficient and how can we bring more value to the client, even if it's a group class and not a one-on-one. And also a big part of his lecture was also about things that we can do to get that connection with your group. He was talking about the typical things charismatic leaders do, like making eye contact, like using how do you call that?
Comparisons.
Like there is a word for it when you describe something. Like for example, when I say, imagine on the deadlift that you're pushing the car close with your ass.
Metaphors,
yeah. So charismatic leaders using metaphors, because when you're using metaphors, it's much easier for the person on the other side to imagine how it feels, what you want him to do with his body. If I say, imagine you're closing with your ass the door, he can imagine closing a door, and then he's going to hip hinge in a good morning or a deadlift or to the hang of hang power. So to use metaphors where possible, like today, for example, we had hamstring scoop into the warm-up. So it's a hamstring stretch exercise where you put the front foot on the heel and then you make a scooping motion. So my metaphor there was, imagine you're scooping water with your hands. As you scoop towards the front, you'll feel a stretch in your hamstrings, like to use metaphors. But yeah, it's a style of coaching, and there were things there that I haven't thought about. So in any course, you can always take 10-20% of value of things that you never heard before.
Yes, that's why it's very important to go to these types of courses, because it gives you a different perspective than what you have. So let's look back now on the gym's past year. How was our community? I know we have the Wadify year in review, and it gives you quite a lot of data. How would you describe that?
Yeah, like every year, a year with a lot of PRs on that overview. From what if I see like an overview of people with the most attendances in class, you see an overview of people that PR'd the most. So I think like on the top one place, because I remember it was somebody and he did 82 PRs in the last year.
That's a lot.
So yeah, also one that just showed up to class very often, but that resulted in 82 PRs that spread over metcons, that spread over strength exercises, that spread over gymnastic exercises that are tested. So that's a lot.
And usually these people are the ones with the best results in some cases.
Usually those guys on that top 10 board are the fittest of the gym. Yeah, it's all about frequency. If you keep showing up, you PR on different things and you make progress. It's only normal.
Yeah, I remember from 2024 the cabana that we did. It was it was an experience like no other because everybody was pushing them a bit more than they used to, and we've seen a lot of people that in the gym they are just them, but in the event in brackets they unleashed the beast within.
This adrenaline takes over, and you have all people standing on the side looking at your performance, so you can always do a little bit more in a setting like that. So that's why we encourage people to just join the Cabana once or join the Clash of the Smart Movers, because it will push you deeper than you will go into training, and and the people around you will be very motivational and encouraging.
I think these are two tests very good for your fitness, let's say, inside our community. We have the cabana that we are doing usually in May, June, and then we have the indoor competition for our members that's usually in October. So that's two parts of the year that can keep you motivated to keep going with your consistency in training and start building something in between, so you don't lack, you don't relax, you don't um, lose yourself, like not come anymore.
And we'll have a third one now. In March will be the CrossFit Open again.
Yeah, exactly. CrossFit Open is the moment that that you can compete with anybody in the whole world. If you have friends in different gyms, that's a moment that you all can appear inside of a leaderboard. That's pretty fun. Yeah, indeed.
So we're gonna do 3 workouts every week. They're gonna post one workout, and we'll do it in the gym. And as a preparation for that, as you guys know, every month I post what the focus of the month is. So for the month of January and February, the focus will be the CrossFit Open, meaning we will do more practice on the typical moves that are always coming back in the CrossFit Open. We will do more metcons in the time range that usually the CrossFit Open workouts are in, which is usually between 10 and 15 minutes. So we're going to prepare specifically for the Open, so you can test your fitness in the 3 Open workouts. So the 2 months leading up to that will be the preparation for that test.
That's cool. And during this year, I met a few people that I want to mention them, not their names, but their story. People that came to us not being able to hold anything together more than 3 weeks to 6 weeks. Like they tried different sports, they didn't like it. They tried gym, they tried everything they could.
They couldn't be
swimming.
consistent. It didn't interest them enough to keep on coming.
Exactly. And then they discovered CrossFit, and somehow CrossFit suited their lifestyle, and it gives them a challenge daily, and they are thriving ever since. So I'm happy to see some people that I usually don't give them too much chances, because they come from this background that they didn't stick to nothing. So I'm a bit skeptical when these people show up, but I know a couple that are really, really relentless now. And yeah, it's crazy. It's nice to see these challenges that people overcome in the end.
I guess you just need to find the thing that clicks for you, because in the end, I always tell people, I don't think you necessarily need to do CrossFit, but I do think you need to move. But you need to find something that engages you, and if that's not CrossFit, if it's something else, it's fine. But you need to find something that is fun and that engages you. Otherwise, you won't want to keep showing up.
Exactly. So let's go further to the resolutions part. First, I would like to go in some of the common pitfalls that people usually go through, and then some tips to maybe make them successful. For me, I like this part a lot. I usually use this for my personal things in life. Doesn't matter if it's professionally or if it's the journey inside our gym, or it's like how I behave inside my family. I try to set some things that I can follow and I can measure. Like in CrossFit, we say, if you cannot measure it,
If it gets measured, it gets done,
exactly,
right?
exactly. So some common pitfalls um, for resolutions are setting unrealistic goals. By this, meaning that you want something too broad and too big. For example, I want to get from 100 kilos to my high school weight of 75 kilos. And this is not, this is just explanation behind it because I say it because people say, I want to get to my high school weight. And that is also a bit not specific enough. Or people want to go from being skinny to being very muscular, also a very big jump. Or I want to go from I want to be 5 times or 6 times even in the gym every day, every week.
Every week, and
Every week.
it depends what they're
And
doing now.
usually
And
they are averaging about 2 per week.
yeah, that's times 3 they want to go.
Yeah, so this is how people usually start the new year. I want to do that, and they're gonna start. Or let's say I'm not doing anything, not sports, not nutrition, not nothing. And from January, I said I'm gonna start moving a bit. I'm gonna go to the gym daily, weekly. I'm gonna start looking after my diet. I'm gonna start some breath exercises, and then I'm gonna start reading because I need to read, and then everything. And then after a month, you're tired of having all this on your agenda, and you will stop.
It's too much changes.
Exactly. So this is very, very common. The next one is lack of a plan or a support system. That means, okay, you want to become stronger, but how are you going to do that? Or I'm going to start singing from January. But who do you told? Did you tell at least your partner? Like manifest it somehow.
I think it's important, whatever goal you have, that you throw it out there, post it on social media, tell all your friends and family about it, because it's going to give a certain pressure on you to actually follow through, because there's going to be somebody every week that's going to ask, and how, for example, I'm preparing for the Cluj Marathon, how's training going? You're going to start feeling bad because you're going to have to be honest with them and say, I didn't run yet. But you
Yes.
said online and to everybody, you're preparing, so why not preparing? So it's
Yeah.
good to throw it out there.
It's gonna be a cold shower when you say it out loud that you
Yeah.
haven't trained, haven't done that, but you were saying that you will do. Or another support system would be finding people who want the same thing.
For sure.
So if I want to join a marathon, I should find somebody who already wants something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to, for example, to get stronger or you want to get better at weightlifting, try to talk to somebody that's already there.
Mm-hmm.
So look around you, see whoever done it before. So you actually maybe talk with them and get some new perspectives on how you can get there faster, like a mentor.
But you need a plan, and if you cannot come up with it by self-study, ask one of the coaches, because an important part one is to have that plan. That's that end goal. What's the end goal? And an end goal, it's far future, but in between we need to break that goal into smaller parts. So it needs to be specific, that end goal. And now we need to make a roadmap on how are we going to get to the end goal. The end goal is in 4 months, 6 months. What are we going to do month to month? What are the small steps we're going to do to get closer to the end goal? If you do not know that, you need to talk to somebody that has experience in it, because by making the small steps, we're not focusing on the end goal. We're focusing on doing the small steps. And if we do the small steps frequently enough, we're going to get to the end goal.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're the best person I know that can come up with a plan for anything. Doesn't matter if you go for a trip or you're gonna get prepared for a competition. I think you are the best in bouncing ideas with.
I'm organized, yeah, and
You're
I
very
like
organized.
I like to measure. So I do this for my own training as well. I set mini goals. I try to draw a path, and I know if I stick to the path, there is a big chance I'm going to reach the end goal.
Exactly. And the last one I would say that's a common pitfall is losing motivation after the excitement you just had. So you done all the good things. You told everybody. You infected everybody with I'm gonna run 50K.
You went online and
Yeah,
you shopped for all the shoes, you read all the
Exactly.
reviews, you bought all the right gear, but now you need to
Exactly.
start.
Exactly. So you did all of this. You checked this box, but January starts very strong. But then February hits. Back to reality. Something's aching. Time is not that much on your hands, and job is taking a big part of it. And the job. Or this is also a comparison that I usually talk to people is like, so you remember sometimes having in the middle of the night a thought and you think, ah, fuck, that's a really good idea. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow from the morning. And then you wake up in the morning and think, man, that was the best, the most stupidest idea I have ever had. So think a bit more on what you want, not just I heard now Bart is going for a marathon. I'm gonna do that shit also. Stay a bit, let it sink in, and then see what happens. And also seeing the first results might hype you up, but then stagnations come. So you must be prepared for that also.
I think your goal needs to mean something to you. Don't, like you said, don't do something just because somebody else is doing it. Think about it deeply and think how important is it to you? How meaningful is it to you? If it's meaningful enough, you're gonna want to make the sacrifices. If it's just like, I do it just for fun, but I don't care that much, it's much easier to fall off the wagon. So pick something that means something to you and have a good why. Why do you want to lose the 15 kilos? Why do you want to gain 20 kilos on your back squat? If it's meaningful to you, there is a big chance you're going to follow through.
Yeah, so this takes us to the next topic, fitness specific resolutions. How would a resolution sound good to you? Like, what would be a good one made, best one?
Like we said before, it needs to be specific, and if it's specific, I can measure it. So the easiest resolutions to follow through on the ones that are measurable. So if we go back to the weight loss one thing that needs to be on a good goal needs to be a time limit on it. You cannot say 2025 I want to lose 15 kilos without saying by when. Do you want to lose it by June? Do you want to lose it by December? Do you want to lose it by end of 2026? There needs to be a specific time on it, because once I have a specific time, we can start making the roadmap. And then we can also talk about if this is realistic or not. If the last time you were, let's say I'm 115 kilos, I want to go to 100. If the last time you were 100 kilos was 15 years ago, it's probably not so realistic to expect that within 6 months you're going to reverse all that time that it took you to gain the weight. So, but let's say a time limit. In December, I wanna lose by December I wanna lose 15 kilos. Perfect. That's 1.5 kilos a month. That's a very good in between goals. From month to month, we're aiming for 1.5 kilos down. So by after 12 months, we have 15 kilos down. So we have mini goals. And now we need to start specifying. It's in 12 months, having minus 15 kilos is an outcome goal. It's far future. Now we need process goals. What are the habits that I'm going to do to get to the minus 1.5 kilos per month, which are my 12 in-between goals? It could be month 1, I'm going to include vegetables at every of my main meals. Okay, I'm going to do that for month 1. Month 2, I'm gonna add a bit more protein to all my meals. Month 3, I'm gonna make sure to drink more water. So we need to create habits from month to month that get us closer to our end goal, the outcome goal. So I think most important is be specific on your goals so we can make a plan that is measurable, so you can make the small gains and the small wins from month to month, and those small wins will keep you motivated, because without those small wins from month to month, that 12 months seems like a very long time, and then it gets harder to maintain.
True. I usually go maximum 6 months for something like this. If I think of 12 months, it's gonna be like crazy far, and it's like unimaginable.
Yeah, that's why goals, especially these type of goals with weight loss, you should see it as a marathon. You should write it on your calendar in 12 months, but then you should completely forget about it, because what counts is 1.5 kilo down at the end of this month. What happens in 12 months, that's not relevant anymore.
Exactly. And for people that are trying to improve a specific skills, let's say I want to become more proficient at handstand walk.
Same thing. The end goal is handstand walk. Now we need to set what's the start point. How comfortable are you now being upside down? Depending on how comfortable you are, then we will make the progression, and then we can write the progression, and then we can see how much time per week can we spend on it. Maybe 2 times 30 minutes, because especially with gymnastics, doing a full hour of gymnastics, it takes a toll on your joints and you might overdo it. So starting small could be even 2 times 20 minutes. Warming up 2 times 20 minutes, some drills being upside down, some strength work. It depends. Everything is always, it depends. But it depends on, okay, what's the end goal? What's the start point? And let's see how we're going to connect these. Then let's see how much time do you want to spend to it. And then it's a bit of trial and error. See how your body takes it. Maybe it's going to be just in the beginning, 1 time 20 minutes per week, and then go from there.
That's what I would say. If your goal is, I want to commit to attend 6 classes per week, the first time that you should do is see realistic where you are. I'm at 2 per week. Okay. Then the month of January, I would advise you to go 3 times.
Exactly.
Add 1 more. 3 times. If you manage this for 3 weeks,
yeah, did you do it every week?
Yeah.
If not, don't change anything yet.
If you hold it up for 4 weeks, then in February you add another one, and then you go 4 weeks, and you see how your body reacts, and you see how to arrange them. Do I train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or do I train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday break, Thursday, Friday? So it all depends also on your recovery. So this is
you need to be a bit. You're gonna need to adjust a little bit on how you feel. And indeed, it's not a good idea to go from 2 to 6 directly. It's too much volume. The same if you go running. What they advise you is not to add more than 10% extra volume per week. You cannot go from 10 kilometers directly to 20. Your calves and your Achilles and your knees are going to suffer. But if you go from 10 and then the next week it's 11, the next week it's 11 and a half or 12, if you slowly build up, your body's going to adjust to it.
Yes, and you're going to keep the injuries away. And also your enthusiasm, because if you run today 15 and the next day you run 20, might be a bit brutal also your mentality, because this is fucking hard.
Your nervous system is going to be like, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to not feel like training because you went too much volume. I know people, you want to do more just to get there faster, but it's not the way. The way is small increments, no matter what the goal is. Small steps and give it time, not big steps and then fall off in the middle of your plan and not do anything anymore.
Exactly. What I would add to this is how to stay successful in your resolution this year is I like to use the acronym SMART.
Yeah.
SMART. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. This is a really good thing. If you say something, think of it. Is it specific enough or not? For example, I want to get stronger, or I want to add 2.5 on my front squat because it's going to make me stronger at my clean. Measurable, is it with numbers or with circumferences, or with to measure it somehow? Achievable, because if you say in 12 months versus in 6 months versus in 3 months, the closer it gets, the more easier it would be for you to assimilate it in your mind. Relevant, if it's really important to you, not just because Bart is doing something, I want to do it also. And I like what you said earlier, time. If you put a deadline, it will happen. This happens with everything that we do also in job related, because if we don't write something and put a timeline on it, it will never happen. So I think using the SMART acronym will also benefit a lot.
I want to also mention my specific outcome goal from this year was to improve my running. I went to a course in May with Chris Hinshaw, aerobic capacity course. Chris Hinshaw, for those that don't know, is one of the top endurance coaches that have trained almost all the CrossFit Games winners to improve their endurance. In his endurance course, he got me intrigued about zone 2 running. I've done in the last 6 years, I've always done some run trainings to support next to my CrossFit training. So I was, let's say, from March till about November, I was running like 2 times a week intervals, also based on a programming of his. But now I never tried the zone 2 training. So zone 2 training is something to train your slow twitch fiber. So he says the average person has 50% slow twitch, 50% fast twitch fibers in their body. So if you never put time into slow and steady work, you're leaving 50% of your muscle fibers untrained. If I can get the endurance of my slow twitch fibers up, then it will help me also when I do the explosive fast stuff like we do in the Metcons. So that got me intrigued. I started running zone 2, and then, like I said before, is put it out there. So I decided with some people from the gym to sign up for a Hyrox course, a Hyrox race, which is 60% running. So to do well at that, I needed to improve my running. So I put it out there for everybody to know, and this keeps me accountable to actually follow through. I started my zone 2 run. Zone 2 is basically a speed at which you can still talk, but it's slightly uncomfortable, but you can still hold the conversation. That's basically zone 2 speed. So when I started the first run, I think I ran 4.7 kilometers at 145 beats per minute on the heart rate, and at a tempo of 6:30 per kilometer. Now we're, what is it, 7 months, 6-7 months further, and now I'm running. I ran last week a 15 kilometer at the same heartbeat, but at 440 per kilometer. So that's almost a 2-minute improvement. So it definitely works. I feel it also in my Metcons, because if you can get your endurance up, you won't get so fast the lactic acid buildup in your legs or in your body, or your heart rate doesn't rise so fast. Or if you spike your heart rate and then you stop, it drops very fast back to a talking level. So you recover faster. So with the Hyrox in mind, that was my goal. My outcome goal long term is to be able to do the zone 2, but at 4 minutes a kilometer. So I still have 30 seconds to improve. So, but I set up a plan. Like I said, once you have a specific goal, you can make your plan. The plan in the beginning was 2 runs a week. I started at 25-30 minutes. The goal was to build that to a capacity of 60 minutes, 2 times a week. The moment I could do 2 times 60 minutes, I started focusing on speed, do the same but faster. Eventually, closer to competition, it turned into 3 runs a week. So these are the month-to-month mini goals. Run 2 times a week, that amount of minutes. The next week it's going to be 5 minutes more, the next week 5 minutes more, 5 minutes till we're at 60. After we're there, we turn it into go faster. Instead of a 6:40, try to run it at a 6:15, and try to run it at a 6, and so on and so on. So what I'm trying to say is, get a specific goal, because then you can make the plan. If you can make the plan, you can follow it, put it out there for everybody to know what you're preparing for. Is going to keep you accountable. And because you if you're not gonna follow through on what you said online or to your friends, you'll have to tell everybody why you stopped, why you're lazy, why you pulled out the race. And we all have ego, so even on bad days, like I told in the past before, It's not about motivation, it's about discipline, and you don't gonna feel like doing stuff all the time. You don't feel that at your work level, you don't feel that at your personal level. Like sometimes you do things because you know they have to be done, no matter the mood. But the good thing when it's fitness related is you can be out of the mood before you start. But once you're warmed up and once you're moving, it's very, very, very rarely that you will regret that you showed up for that training, whatever it is, for whatever goal. So when it's fitness related, realize that in the past, I have been in this mood before. I went to training anyway, and I was happy I did it. And just prepare yourself for that mentally, and you will be fine. So in February, I will go to a Hyrox in Vienna. In April, I'll go to Hyrox in Belgium. And I'll share my experience with you guys on the group. Maybe also I'll mention it in one of the next podcasts after that race is done. And maybe some of you will be inspired to try one yourself, maybe perhaps in team. And then I can guide you a little bit on how you can use the gym plus the run trainings to get ready. The reason I signed up for a Hyrox, besides that I got intrigued by the Zone 2 running, was because it gives me a reason to train.
Yes, it gives you an incentive.
Yeah.
To try harder.
To show up and to set personal goals, like what is a realistic goal for me to achieve, and it's motivational when you see that you're getting closer and closer to it.
Exactly. So besides being disciplined when you lack motivation, how would you advise people to stay motivated during hard times? Some little guidelines.
One, like we talked about already the entire episode, set goals. That's a big one. Two, surround yourself with people with the same goals or similar goals, or have a workout buddy that can sometimes push your buttons a little bit just to show up. Because like I said, once you're there, you're going to be fine. You're going to be happy you're there. It's just getting through the door. It's just getting out of your house. It's a cliche, but if you're having a office job or you're working from home, sitting all day on a chair makes you tired. The thing to get out of that tiredness is actually to move. It sounds counterproductive, but you'll see sitting all day makes you tired. So to make you feel better, you should move a little bit. If it's not getting to the gym, find another way, but move a little bit. You'll feel better after, because you just sat on that chair for 8 hours. It's not good for you, not mentally, not physically.
Exactly. And remember that setbacks are normal.
Oh yeah. We've had both of us had setbacks this year, no?
Exactly. Yeah, I know better of all. It happened to me, and this was my goal for 2024. That try to get everything moving the way it used to be. So drop the injuries. Let's say.
Yeah. So if you guys need help, sit together with a coach. That's what we also do in the goal reviews. This is one of the main goals, to help you establish some goals, because we know how important to have goals, because goals keep you motivated. Goals lead to action, and action leads to more motivation. And when you see small improvements, it will lead to even more motivation. It's like a snowball effect. So if you don't manage to set specific goals by yourself, just talk to some of the trainers. It could even be, what can I do to just get more consistent showing up in the gym? We can talk a little bit about your schedule, about your lifestyle, about the things that you could try out to have more chances to get yourself into the gym. Things that you can do that are outside the gym, but that are still active. Any little bit helps. Small home workout, one run per week because you couldn't make the gym, or a swim or something. It doesn't always have to be in the gym. So just what can you do to get more frequent movement in or outside the gym? So just open a conversation. We have experience with this, and it can be a big help just to have an outsider look at your schedule and your habits, because when we're with our nose close on it, we're not always honest with ourselves.
Exactly. Cool. So as we wrap today's episode, We just want to remind you resolutions aren't about perfection, they're about progress. Each step you take towards your goals, no matter how small it is, it adds up over time. If you're feeling inspired, share your 2025 goals with us. We'd love to hear them out. Whether it is something big like running your first marathon or just committing to 3 workouts a week, let's tackle it together. You can also book a goal setting, as Bart just said, with a coach. And if you want help getting started, he will know how to guide you. And remember, your Smart Move community is here for you. We've got classes, challenges, and a team of coaches ready to support you every step of the way. Here's to a strong, healthy, and amazing 2025. Let's make it your year. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the gym.